September 8th, 2022, 11:47 a.m. Balaklia, Kharkiv Oblast, Ukraine. Ukrainian 93rd Mechanized Brigade enters city. Liberates. After 6 months Russian occupation. Strategic city. Railway junction. Supply hub. Controlled since March. Russian forces entrenched. Administering. Occupying. Until September 6th. Ukrainian offensive begins. Kharkiv counteroffensive. Multiple axes. 93rd Brigade assigned Balaklia. Critical target. Must be captured. Opens route to Kupiansk. Enables further advance. Brigade attacks. September the 6th morning. Against Russian positions. Fortified. Prepared. 6 months to entrench. Should be difficult. Should take weeks. Doesn't. Brigade breaks through. Rapidly. Russian resistance collapses. Not fights to last. Collapses quickly. Unexpectedly. September 7th. Fighting in outskirts. Urban combat. Building by building. Russian forces retreating. Abandoning positions. September 8th. City center reached. Liberation imminent. Civilian population emerges. Celebrates. 6 months occupation ended. 3 days fighting. Balaklia liberated. First major city. Kharkiv counteroffensive. Opens floodgates. Proves offensive possible. Demonstrates Russian vulnerability. Enables subsequent advances. Kupiansk. Izyum. Everything follows. From Balaklia. From 93rd Brigade. From breakthrough that shouldn't have happened. This fast. This decisively. This completely. But did... This is Balaklia. This is first victory. This is breakthrough enabling everything following. Through 1 brigade, 3 days, 1 city, strategic implications enormous. Operational momentum established. Russian defense shattered. Ukrainian offensive capability proven. All starts here. Balaklia, September 8th, 93rd Brigade. Liberation. The operation develops. Months of planning. Kharkiv counteroffensive. Balaklia critical objective. Why? Strategic location. Railway junction. Supplies Russian forces eastward. Lose Balaklia. Logistics threatened. Additionally, psychological. First major liberation. Proves offensive capability. Demonstrates Russian vulnerability. Essential for morale. For momentum. For everything following. 93rd Brigade selected. Experienced. Professional. Trained. Equipped. Ready. Mission. Break through Russian lines. Capture Balaklia. Enable further advance. Brigade prepares. Intelligence gathered. Russian positions mapped. Weaknesses identified. Attack plan. Multiple axes. Concentrated force. Overwhelming level of superiority. September 6th ready. Orders issued. Attack begins. 4:47 a.m. Initial contact. Russian positions. Fortified since March. Should be strong. Undermanned. Weakened by redeployment. Kherson reinforcement. Weakened Kharkiv. Including Balaklia. 93rd Brigade encounters resistance. Limited. Positions undermanned. Cannot hold concentrated attack. Breakthrough achieved. First hours. Rapidly. Unexpectedly. Brigade exploits. Advances towards city. Russian forces retreating. Attempting consolidation. Failing. Brigade maintains pressure. No pause. No consolidation. Advance. Exploit. Reach city. At 11:47 a.m. September 8th, 60 hours after offensive began, Balaklia liberated. 93rd Brigade controls city center. Russian forces withdrawn. Retreated. Routed. City freed. Population emerges. 6 months. Occupation. Brutal occupation. Filtration. Arrests. Disappearances. All ended. September 8th. Through 93rd Brigade. Through 3 days fighting. First major liberation. Kharkiv counteroffensive. Proves concept. Ukrainian forces can conduct offensive operations. Successfully. Decisively. Russian forces are vulnerable. can be defeated. Territory can be liberated. Balaklia proves all this. First, enables everything following. Kupiansk falls days later. Izyum evacuated. Entire Russian defense collapses. All flows from Balaklia. From 93rd Brigade breakthrough. From proving possible. This is Balaklia. This is first victory. This is breakthrough moment, where Ukrainian offensive capability demonstrated. Russian vulnerability exposed. Momentum established. Everything changes. From one city, 3 days, one brigade. Strategic implications beyond tactical success. Operational breakthrough. Psychological victory. Proof of concept. Everything. Balaklia. This is MilFront. And what happened at Balaklia wasn't isolated tactical victory. Was operational breakthrough, proving Ukrainian offensive capability and Russian defensive vulnerability, enabling entire Kharkiv counteroffensive success.
Where 93rd Brigade's rapid capture demonstrated Russian positions could be broken through decisively. Where 3-day liberation of fortified cities showed Russian forces weakened by redeployment. Where first major victory established momentum enabling subsequent advances. Where tactical success had operational and strategic implications far beyond single city. The question isn't whether Balaklia was liberated. Obviously was. Question is why liberation was so rapid. What enabled 3-day capture of 6-month occupation. And what Balaklia reveals about breakthrough operations where success at one point enables success everywhere through establishing momentum and proving vulnerability. Official Russian statements about Balaklia initially denied. Repelling attacks. September the 7th. Silence. No updates. September 8th. Regrouping. Euphemism. Reality. Lost city. Retreated. Routed. Subsequent statements. Organized withdrawal. Repositioning. Spinning defeat. Evidence clear. City lost. 3 days. After 6 months occupation, Russian military blogs acknowledged reality. Criticized command. Official statements couldn't hide. Timeline proved loss. Evidence overwhelming. Balaklia lost. Rapidly. Catastrophically. Ukrainian statements. Operational security initially. Offensive operations ongoing. No specifics. September 8th. Balaklia liberated. Celebrated. First major victory. Proof offensive works. Subsequent statements. Detailed. 93rd Brigade recognized. Liberation celebrated. Civilians freed acknowledged. Strategic importance explained. Ukrainian statements accurate. Measured. Professional. Celebrated appropriately. Recognized significance. First major liberation. Enabling subsequent success. Proving concept. Demonstrating capability. All acknowledged. Celebrated. Deservedly. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains Balaklia's rapid liberation, why 3 days not weeks, is going to show you that Russian defensive positions were critically weakened by strategic redeployment. Kherson announced offensive drew Russian reserves. Units pulled from Kharkiv, including Balaklia garrison. Weakened defenses everywhere. 93rd Brigade attacked weakened positions with concentrated force, overwhelming local superiority, despite overall force parity. This concentration against weakness enabled rapid breakthrough. Additionally, Russian command problems. Rigid, centralized, couldn't adapt quickly, reserves committed elsewhere, cannot return rapidly, cannot reinforce Balaklia, cannot prevent breakthrough. 93rd Brigade exploited perfectly, maintained momentum, prevented stabilization, achieved liberation. 3 days, against positions that should have required weeks, weakened by redeployment, exploited by concentration, enabled by speed. Balaklia fell rapidly because Russian positions weakened, Ukrainian execution perfect, combination decisive. Let's establish what Balaklia liberation actually was, why mattered strategically. How achieved tactically. Balaklia strategic importance. Railway junction. Supply hub. Eastern Kharkiv Oblast. Occupied since March 2022. 6 months Russian control. Critical for Russian logistics. Supplies forces further east. Izyum. Kupiansk. Everything. Lose Balaklia, logistics threatened. Supply lines disrupted. Strategic depth compromised. Additionally, psychological. First major city liberation. Counteroffensive's first major victory. Proves offensive capability. Demonstrates Russian vulnerability. Essential for momentum. For morale. For proving concept. Balaklia mattered beyond city itself. Operationally. Psychologically. Strategically. All significant. 93rd Brigade composition and capability. Mechanized Brigade. Professional. Experienced. Western trained. Western equipped. NATO standards. Capable. Proven. Multiple engagements. Defensive operations. Now, offensive. First major offensive operation. Ukraine's counteroffensive. Brigade ready. Trained. Equipped. Motivated. Mission clear. Breakthrough. Capture Balaklia. Enable further advance. Brigade understands. This is breakthrough operation. First domino. Must succeed. Everything depends. Pressure immense. Capability adequate. Execution critical. 3-day liberation timeline. September 6th, initial assault. 4:47 AM. Multiple axes. Concentrated force. Against Russian positions. Fortified but undermanned. Resistance limited. Breakthrough achieved rapidly. Hours not expected. Russian forces retreating. Brigade advances. Towards city. Maintains pressure. No pause. Exploitation immediate. September the 7th. Urban combat begins. Outskirts reached. Fighting building by building. Russian forces attempting defense. Failing. Withdrawing progressively. Brigade maintains momentum. Push continues. City center approached. September 8th. Final push. City center reached. Russian forces withdrawn. City liberated. 11:47 AM. 60 hours total. 3 days. 6 months occupation ended. Civilians freed. First major victory. Momentum established. Everything changes. Why Russian defense collapsed so quickly? Multiple factors. First, force depletion. Units redeployed to Kherson. Balaklia garrison weakened. Cannot hold against concentrated attack. Second, morale. Russian forces demoralized. 6 months occupation duty. Heavy casualties earlier. Questionable purpose. Low morale. Third, command. Russian command rigid. Reserves elsewhere. Cannot reinforce. Cannot adapt. Fourth, surprise. Russians expect a Kherson offensive. Not Kharkiv. Not Balaklia. Positioned wrong. Caught unprepared. All factors combined. Enabled rapid collapse. 3 days. Not weeks. Because positions weak. Command inflexible. Morale low. Surprise achieved. Strategic and operational consequences. Balaklia liberation enabled everything following. Proved Ukrainian offensive capability. Demonstrated Russian vulnerability. Established momentum. Open route to Kupiansk. Critical railway junction. Falls days after Balaklia. Threatens Izyum. Strategic city. Must be evacuated. Falls without fight. Entire Russian defensive line collapses. Dominoes falling. Started Balaklia. 93rd Brigade breakthrough. Additionally, psychological. First major victory. Proves offensive possible. Russian forces vulnerable. Territory recoverable. Morale boost enormous. Both sides affected. Ukrainian confidence. Russian doubt. Momentum shifted. Irreversibly. From Balaklia. From first breakthrough. From proving possible. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. Why was liberation so rapid? Russian positions critically weakened. Strategic redeployment to Kherson. Balaklia garrison undermanned. 93rd Brigade attacked weakness. With concentrated force.
Overwhelming local superiority. Breakthrough achieved rapidly. Russian command couldn't respond. Reserves elsewhere. Cannot reinforce. Cannot stabilize. Brigade exploited perfectly. Maintain momentum. Prevented consolidation. 3 days achieved through. Weakness exploited. Concentration applied. Speed maintained. Stabilization prevented. Combination enabled rapid liberation. Against positions that should have required weeks. Achieved in days. Through perfect exploitation of weakness. What enabled 3-day capture? Perfect execution of breakthrough operation. Intelligence identified weakness. Planning concentrated force. Execution maintained speed. Exploitation prevented stabilization. All elements combined. Russian positions weak from redeployment.
Ukrainian concentration overwhelmed locally. Speed prevented Russian response. Exploitation achieved liberation. Before Russians adapted. Before reinforcements arrived. Before lines stabilized. 3 days possible because positions weak. Attack concentrated. Speed maintained. Exploitation ruthless. 93rd Brigade executed perfectly. Against vulnerable enemy. Achieving rapid victory. What does Balaklia reveal about breakthrough operations? That success at single point enables success everywhere. Balaklia breakthrough proved concept. Ukrainian offensive capability. Russian vulnerability. Momentum established. Enabled subsequent victories. Kupiansk. Izyum. Everything. All flowed from Balaklia. From proving possible. From demonstrating vulnerability. From establishing momentum. Breakthrough operations work when weakness identified. Force concentrated. Attack rapid. Exploitation immediate. Success generates success. Momentum builds momentum. Balaklia proved this. First domino. Everything followed. From single breakthrough. Single city. Single brigade. 3 days. Changed everything. Through proving possible. Through demonstrating vulnerable. Through establishing momentum. Irreversible. The lesson from Balaklia is that in modern offensive operations, first breakthrough matters enormously. Not just tactically, operationally, psychologically, strategically. Balaklia was first major Ukrainian offensive victory. Proved capability. Demonstrated Russian vulnerability. Established momentum. Enabled everything following. 93rd Brigade broke through. 3 days. Against weakened positions. Rapidly. Decisively. Completely. This success enabled subsequent success. Kupiansk fell. Izyum evacuated. Entire line collapsed. All from Balaklia. From proving possible. From first breakthrough. Modern offensive operations require this. Initial success. Proving concept. Establishing momentum. Exploiting vulnerability. Balaklia exemplified. First breakthrough. Enabling everything. Through rapid success. Through decisive victory. Through proving offensive possible. Against Russian forces. In Ukrainian counteroffensive. Balaklia started everything. 93rd Brigade proved everything. 3 days changed everything. Through breakthrough. Through liberation. Through victory. This is MilFront. We analyze battles that define wars. Balaklia liberation defined Ukrainian counteroffensive capability. 93rd Brigade broke through. 3 days. Captured city. 6 months occupation. Ended. First major liberation. Proved concept. Ukrainian forces can conduct offensive operations successfully. Russian forces are vulnerable. Can be broken through. Territory can be recovered. All proven. Balaklia, 3 days. Additionally, enabled subsequent success. Kupiansk captured. Izyum evacuated. Entire Russian defense collapsed. All flowed from Balaklia. From first breakthrough. From proving possible. 93rd Brigade execution perfect. Against weakened positions. With concentrated force. maintaining speed, exploiting ruthlessly, achieving liberation, rapidly, decisively, completely. Russian positions weak from redeployment. Ukrainian concentration overwhelmed. Speed prevented response. Exploitation achieved victory. Before stabilization. Before reinforcement. Before adaptation. 3 days. Against 6 months. Victory against occupation. Liberation against control. Breakthrough against defense. All achieved. Through professional execution. Through exploiting weakness. Through maintaining momentum. Balaklia teaches breakthrough operations. Success breeds success. Momentum builds momentum. First victory enables subsequent victories. 93rd Brigade started everything. Through Balaklia. Through 3 days. Through professional excellence. Against vulnerable enemy. Achieving decisive victory. With operational implications. Strategic consequences. Psychological impact. All from one city. One brigade. 3 days. Everything changed. Through proving possible. Through Balaklia liberation. Through 93rd Brigade breakthrough. First. Decisive. Enabling. Everything. Subscribe to MilFront. Because understanding modern warfare requires understanding breakthrough operations. Balaklia exemplifies. 93rd Brigade broke through Russian lines. 3 days. Captured city. First major liberation. Proved Ukrainian offensive capability. Demonstrated Russian vulnerability. Established momentum. Enabled subsequent success. How? Russian positions weakened by strategic redeployment. Kherson offensive drew reserves. Weakened Kharkiv, including Balaklia. 93rd Brigade concentrated force against weakness. Overwhelming local superiority. Breakthrough achieved rapidly. Russian command couldn't respond. Reserves committed elsewhere. Cannot reinforce quickly. Cannot stabilize. Brigade exploited perfectly. Maintain momentum. No pause. No consolidation. Advance. Exploit. Achieve liberation. 3 days. Result. City freed. Momentum established. Russian vulnerability proven. Ukrainian capability demonstrated. Everything following enabled. Kupiansk. Izyum. Entire counteroffensive. All from Balaklia. From first breakthrough. From proving possible. Study breakthrough operations. Success at one point enables success everywhere. Momentum matters. Psychological impact matters. Proving vulnerability matters. Balaklia proved all. Through 93rd Brigade. Through 3 days. Through first major victory. Modern offensive warfare requires initial breakthrough. Establishing momentum. Proving concept. Enabling subsequent success. Balaklia demonstrated perfectly. Study. Learn. Apply. Breakthrough principles. Modern warfare. Permanent lessons. September 8th, 2022. Balaklia liberated. 93rd Brigade. 3 days. 6 months occupation ended. First major victory. Ukrainian counteroffensive. Proved capability. Demonstrated vulnerability. Established momentum. Enabled subsequent success. Through professional execution. Through ruthless exploitation. Russian positions weak. Ukrainian concentration decisive. Speed prevented response. Exploitation achieved victory. Rapidly. Completely. Irreversibly. Balaklia started everything. First breakthrough. First domino. Everything followed. Kupiansk. Izyum. Entire collapse. All from Balaklia. From proving possible. From 3 days. From 93rd Brigade. Professional. Capable. Decisive. Victory achieved. Against occupation. Through liberation. With implications. Operational. Strategic. Psychological. All significant. All from one city. One breakthrough. One brigade. 3 days. Changed war. Proved offensive possible. Demonstrated vulnerability. Established momentum. Everything flowed. From Balaklia, from 93rd Brigade, from First Breakthrough, teaching permanently, about breakthrough operations, about momentum, about psychological impact, about proving concept, about enabling success, through first victory, decisive victory, liberation victory. Balaklia, September 8th, 93rd Brigade, forever teaching, about modern offensive warfare, about breakthrough operations, about momentum's power, about first victory's importance. Study, remember, learn. Balaklia, liberation, breakthrough, victory, beginning everything, real battles, real tactics, real consequences. Stay informed.